analyst told me that I was right out of my head the way he described it. He said I'd be better dead than alive. I didn't listen to his jive. I knew all along that he was all wrong. Yeah, I knew that he thought I was crazy, but I'm not. My analyst told me that I was right out of my head. He said, any treatment, I'm not that easily led. He said I was the kind that was most inclined when out of his sight to be out of my mind. Yeah, he thought I was nuts. No more ifs or ands or buts. Oh no. They say as a child I appeared a little bit wild with all of my crazy ideas. I knew what was happening. I knew I was a genius. What's so strange when you know that you're a wizard at 3? I knew that this was meant to be. Well, I heard little children were supposed to sleep tight. That's why I drank a fifth of vodka one night. My parents got frantic, didn't know what to do. Well, I saw some crazy scenes before I came to. Do you think that was crazy? I may have been older than you, but I was swinging the old Diddy Graham Bell. All after Diddy seen it all with Einstein. Why should I be sorry if they just couldn't understand the reasoning and the logic that went on in my head? I had a brain that was insane. All they used to laugh at me because I refused to ride in all those double-decker buses. All because there wasn't a driver on the top. No driver on the top. No driver on the top. There wasn't driver, there was no driver, there was no driver, there was no driver, there was no driver, no driver, no driver, no driver, no driver, no driver on the top. Tell me all about it now. He said I'd be better dead than alive. I didn't listen to his jive. I knew all along he was all wrong. Yeah, I knew that he thought I was crazy, 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 but I'm not. Oh no, my analyst told me that I was out of my head. I said, dear doctor, I think that's you instead, because I have got a thing that's unique and new to prove that I'll have the last laugh on you. Cause instead of one head, I got two, and you know, two heads are better than one. That is twisted. Summertime and the living is easy. Fish are jumping, cotton is high. Oh, your daddy's rich and your mom is good looking. So hush, little baby, little baby. 'cause one of these mornings you're gonna rise up singing, singing. You're gonna spread your wings. You're gonna take to the sky. Till that morning, nothing's gonna harm you, harm you, harm you. With Daddy and Mammy just standing by. Summertime, summertime, summertime. The fish are jumping and the cotton is high. Fish are jumping and the cotton's high. Your daddy is rich and your mama's good looking. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Don't you cry. One of these mornings you're gonna rise up singing, and you'll spread your wings and you'll take to the sky. Standing by. Hush, little baby. Hush, hush, hush. A little baby, hush, little baby, don't you cry. Your mommy and your daddy are standing by. Hush, little baby, don't you cry. Your mommy and your daddy just standing by. Hush, little baby, hush, little baby, hush, little baby, little baby, little baby. Whoa, hush, little baby, hush, little baby, hush, little baby. Oh, 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 oh. Summertime, 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 and the living is easy. Fish are jumping in the cottons. Fish are jumping in the cottons. Oh, your daddy is rich. Your mom is good looking.
back on the show. And of course, we just heard some fantastic jazz from Ori Dagan and Jordan O'Connor, who are here in the studio. And that really sounded awesome, you guys.
Thank you.
Amazing work. You guys work very well together.
Thank you. It's been a great time.
Apparently it's been 10 years.
10 years we just figured out.
Really?
I don't believe him, but...
Funny how time flies.
The time really flies anyways. So we got a few things to talk about besides the great music that we heard, obviously, from you guys. But because I know, Ori, you're booking the talent down at the 120 Diner on Church Street, which is one of the finest jazz establishments in the city, is it not?
It sure is, and we're really excited about what we're doing over there. What I love about the experience at 120 is that the food's really great, it's affordable, it's a nice casual place, but it is about the music. When we have music happening, we tell the people to please be quiet and support the music, and we're really building a nice clientele there, and we've got music 6 nights a week, so
wow,
it's great.
Which is the night you don't have music?
We're closed on Mondays for now, but let's see.
You got to have a day off, right?
I know. The kitchen needs a day off.
Yeah. And I know you have. I've been there, and I've seen some of the talent that you've been booking there, and it is great. And you got 2 rooms there, right?
Yeah. Well, I mostly book the downstairs, which is the diner, 120 Diner, and upstairs we've got a bigger space called Club 120, which is also cool. It's great for bands and DJs and.
Is it like anything goes upstairs?
Oh, anything goes.
So, do you have this music playing on both floors together?
Sometimes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's pretty soundproof. It's pretty good.
That's pretty amazing.
Yeah. It's for the most part really good. Occasionally if there's a party upstairs and the bass is thumping, I like to not have music downstairs.
Yeah.
But actually the 2 rooms work really well together otherwise.
So you can have like the rock crowd upstairs and the jazz crowd downstairs.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I got to say too, I kind of like they're both great rooms, right? And the last time I was there, because I didn't really get a chance to actually have some food or even see the music on the ground floor because we went upstairs. And it was kind of reminding me like of Montreal. It had a Montreal vibe to it.
We've gotten, for the upstairs, people that come in there say it reminds them of a Berlin before the wall kind of nightclub.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a really cool space.
It's very, if you're tired of the typical Toronto thing, it really does have that different flavor, which is great, right? So
we're stepping in a whole other world, it sounds like.
Yeah, and it's part of the Toronto Jazz Festival. Both of the rooms are. So we've got about 5 shows, I think, happening upstairs during the festival. And downstairs we have got, I think, like 23 shows. It's crazy.
Now, do you have a hard time, Ori, with booking the talent? Because that's a lot of talent to book.
It's really a lot. And I'll tell you, it started off, like this whole adventure for me at the diner, it just started off as 1 gig. I literally walked in and played 1 gig.
So you play as well, right? You sing too, right?
You just heard him.
I know, but we should mention that.
Well, we're going to get into that.
Well, I know, but that's why... Oh.
You guys are so funny. Anyway, I just literally, I had no idea that any of this would happen as life goes. I just played a gig, and I was really lucky because it went really well. I brought in about 30 people, which is not bad for a restaurant like that. And they were like, wow, this is great. Why don't you come back and do this again next month? So I just had a monthly gig on the last Friday of every month. And they called me and they're like, Ori, we really want you to help us get music in here. Can you do that? And I was like, sure. So, we started last summer, like now, like a year ago. We just started to do twice a week. We were doing Fridays and Saturdays from 6 to 8. By October, they asked me to add Sundays. And then now it's like 45 shows a month that I'm booking. So I keep telling them, yes, I'll do it. So
it's fair to say you're well connected.
Yeah, I guess. I've been doing this for a while. And I go out and I see people all the time. I went to York and Humber where I studied this music. So I've got a lot of contacts from there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So when you say you studied, or you mean you studied as a jazz singer?
Yeah. I went for an extended 9-year undergraduate experience. Yeah. And it was amazing.
That's a professional student.
It was great. But, I was like, kind of, that's it for me. For a while.
Now it's time to get out there and make money with this music,
That's right. That's right. Well, I truly believe when you're studying to be a musician, especially in jazz, the education really happens on the stage. At jam sessions and stuff like that. As much as education's important and school's great, but actually, Lisa Particelli has a jazz jam that now takes place at 120 Diner, and I'd love to mention that. It's called Girls Night Out Jazz, where gentlemen are welcome to. GNO Jazz, and it's been an amazing place for me to try stuff out over the years. Happens every Wednesday night.
So that's the jazz jam. So people who want to just get up and try something.
Perhaps someone that might want to sing a song.
Hugh.
What if it's not jazz though?
You know what? It's very inclusive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Like, what are you thinking? Scandinavian
Actually,
folk
no.
song?
You know what I'm thinking now, because we got this new group that we're doing here, and it's kind of acid jazzy, right? Like, we just started it.
Cool.
And it's right now it's a 3-piece, and it's we had some people and they said, "Oh, that reminds me of the Brand New Heavies." So I thought, well, that's great, because I love the Brand New Heavies. So so we could come down there and do something like that on a Wednesday night. So what time should people show up for this jam?
It goes from 8 to midnight.
Yeah,
it's a lot of fun.
Like, do you got to wait for a long time to get on stage? Or
Well,
it's
pretty popular.
Yeah.
So, it's in that way, it's a really good way to meet people, and usually get to do just one song because it's pretty busy.
Okay, right.
But just for people who, so they don't have to feel pressure, you can just go with your friends and not have to go up.
Oh,
you
absolutely.
can just
audience
them.
members are very crucial. So that'd be great.
Yeah.
Wednesday
that sounds
nights.
like fun. Okay,
and you can eat at the same time. You can have a bite to eat.
The food's fantastic.
You want to talk about the food?
Sure.
I'm hungry right now.
It's amazing. It's really affordable, well-made comfort food. So all sorts of varieties of poutine and burgers and mac and cheese.
Do they have vegan foods?
They do. They have very good vegan options.
See, there you
Got like a smart salad. And
Yay.
it's really nice.
Okay, so we're coming for sure. All right. Okay, we're going to be doing that. Now, so you mentioned the Jazz Festival. Like, when is that?
It's June 24th to July 3rd.
Okay.
And we've got so much great music. And I booked some really great, like, one particular act I want to mention. Her name is Judith Lander.
Yeah.
And she's one of the great cabaret artists in Canada.
Okay.
She's been on Broadway. She's been singing on stages for like 40 years. She's really, really, really something. So that's on Wednesday, June 29th at 6 o'clock.
Okay. Well, we're going to give out the website if we haven't already, and people can get all that info. But also, you are going to be performing. Because, so tell us about that.
Sure. Well, that's happening Saturday, June 25th from 8 to 10. And I'll be playing with Nathan Hiltz. He's a guitarist that I work with a lot and write songs with. And we're working on a new album right now that's kind of a tribute to Nat King Cole.
Nice.
So you'll hear some Nat King Cole on that night for sure.
Now, where's that? At the 120?
That's at the diner.
Okay.
Yep.
Awesome. All right. Well, because I've seen you at the Jazz Festival before. In fact, that's where I met you.
That's right.
At the Now Lounge. Like a couple years ago.
That's right.
Wow.
And so that's all very exciting. Now, Jordan also, amazing bass playing.
Thank you.
And let's talk about some of the stuff that you're up to, because I know you play in this. What is that? A chamber orchestra?
Chamber Orchestra. It's a group called Euphonia,
Yeah.
and it was started about 3 years ago with the idea of performing classical music in bars. And we had played at Lula Lounge, which we're returning to with our upcoming concert. That's on May 26th. And the ensemble for that concert will be about 10 musicians, which is a string quintet and a wind quintet put together. And we're doing a recompose of Vivaldi's Four Seasons. I think everybody's familiar with the Four Seasons. Even if you don't know it by name, you've heard it at different places.
Yeah.
So I was inspired by the work that a lot of artists who use samples in different idioms, but artists who use samples have recomposed pieces. But as a composer myself, I could take the notes and rewrite them. So I rewrote or reimagined Vivaldi's Four Seasons for this group of 10 musicians. And we're performing on if you're familiar with Lula, we're performing on the dance floor in the center of the room.
Oh.
And so the audience can be right around us, and it gives them a chance to connect with a classical ensemble by removing that sense of there's a stage and then there's seating. You're surrounding the ensemble, and much like the 120 Diner, you can eat and drink and hang out in a way that you might not typically be able to do at a classical concert. So it's a different kind of spin on a traditional thing.
Now that's interesting. When you say to rewrite it, I mean, what do you do? I mean, are you just completely rewriting it, or are you just rearranging it, or getting different instruments to play different parts, or like what?
It's all of the above. I mean, I take the original score, and then I rewrite it for. It's a different set of instruments. It was originally a piece done for strings, and this has winds. We have, flute. We have soprano sax, alto sax, clarinet, French horn, and then 5 strings, which is 2 violins, viola, and cello, and double bass. I'm the double bassist.
Yeah.
So do you have to write, when you say rewrite, do you have to write for each instrument?
Yeah, so you write a score, and the score includes all the parts, so you can see a master.
Oh
and then what you do is you extract those parts, so then you would hand, the flautist gets,
their
in the
part.
case it's Amelia, and she would get her own part, and each person has their own part.
That is a
Now, are they
going
to be reading the music?
Well, we're actually, our first rehearsal as an ensemble is this evening,
Yeah.
oddly enough. So that's what I'm going to after this. And so we work through it and work out the kinks, any mistakes that I've made. And we
That's an
find
amazing amount of work, isn't it?
It is. It is.
Holy cow.
I mean, I was very inspired by, the sample artists and what they're able to do. I think we can learn a lot from it as quote-unquote traditional composers, because we can take a lot of traditional things and not have the same traditional, quote-unquote traditional perspective. We can get our hands on it. We tend to think of tradition as being this artifact, this thing that we don't necessarily want to touch, we just want to celebrate.
Yeah.
But I think if we interact with it, it actually teaches us a tremendous amount
Yes.
about what it was and the decisions that these composers made and the
And
ways
also
in
what
which-
it can become, right?
and what it can become now.
Yeah.
I mean, I see art as an entirely malleable thing. I don't see it as a singular thing that we don't touch. I mean,
Yeah.
I was the kid who went to an art gallery and got in trouble for touching the painting, because I just thought it was amazing that the idea that oil could come off the canvas. That how would that work? What did that feel like? So, and I think art more generally is about an experience. Right? Isn't that what we're all looking for when we go to see a band?
Yes.
An experience.
Yes, that's right. You're really not coming to see the artist play. You're coming to feel the artist,
Yeah.
right? And it becomes an interactive relationship, really.
Because if it isn't, why do it?
Exactly. Yeah.
So, as,
Makes
as a
sense.
composer and doing this particular thing where you're rearranging Vivaldi, just one, because sometimes I think, like in music, or maybe even in all the arts today, it's almost like, I mean, this isn't a new idea either, but that it's like almost everything's been done, right? And I know they say there's nothing new under the sun, anyways.
Yeah.
But I mean, what do we do new in music these days? I mean, because to me, actually, my thinking is sometimes new musical forms come from new technologies. Like rock music came out of the fact we had electricity,
Yeah.
right? I'm not sure where jazz came from.
Nobody is.
And sampling gave us hip hop,
Yeah.
in a sense, right? So where do we go in terms of new musical forms today? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't believe I think it's a modernist narrative that says nothing new can be done, because it's holding to the idea that there's a singular narrative, i.e. that we're all supposed to do a thing,
Yeah.
and we're all supposed to get on that train and go in that direction.
Right.
But postmodernism basically said there is no singular narrative. Right? We're not going to believe the singular trajectory of any art discipline. We're actually going to embrace multiple influences, because we became more multicultural. We were less Eurocentric, for example. Jazz is a great example in the Western tradition, because it's a class of cultures, right, that created, through slavery, ultimately created an idiom that became this thing called jazz. And it's really the ultimate act of music itself. It's a music created by a people who were excluded from a population, who created a music that included them. It is the ultimate act of art. Because art is ultimately this bringing together and this connection of us within our life. We're making a reality. We're literally forming a reality. Painting is really obvious. You think Van Gogh, nobody bought a Van Gogh, right? And during his life.
Yeah.
But the irony of it is he was seeing something that we had yet to see.
Right.
When we started to see it, we realized, oh, wow, this is tremendous, that we can see shapes and colors and images and form and structure in this way. So sometimes, in the case of jazz, it was very progressive. And in the case of Van Gogh, he was really on the avant-garde, ironically. But he was able to show us something. And I think that's why I don't buy the idea that nothing new has been done before, because it has this idea that new is created while you are here. But Van Gogh did something new that nobody really cared about until after. Lots of Bruckner didn't hear all of his symphonies, right? There's lots of jazz musicians suffered horrific lives. Charlie Parker did not have an easy go of it. Yet he contributed bebop to an idiom that would inform free jazz, which would inform all sorts of other kinds of music. I think free jazz was also informed by French Impressionism. So how these things come together, I think, like you said, sampling and hip-hop, we don't really know. So this idea of people saying there's nothing, it's all been done before, I think that's just a pretty weak argument. Ultimately, I think if your goal is to do something and express, then do that. Let somebody else categorize it and put it on a shelf.
All right, so that's
That's
great.
interesting philosophy.
Super interesting. We could have you here all day.
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, I want a show of this guy.
No
You
kidding,
don't want that. You
right?
don't want
Yeah.
Like just talking about all this
Oh yeah,
The
he's got so
philosophy.
much
stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
If that comes through in your music when you're writing for that ensemble, wow.
I hope. I mean, I hope all of us want to encourage each other. Right? So,
Also, recently, Jordan wrote his first symphony with Euphonia.
Well,
a couple of years ago, yeah.
well, we'd love to hear that. In fact, we were talking before we came on, right? Maybe we'll get you guys in here one of these days and
Yeah.
have a little bit of event here and stream it and record it. And that would be awesome. So I just want to say thank you both
Thank
for
you
coming
guys.
in
That was
today.
amazing.
Thank you for having us.
For the
Real
performance
pleasure.
and for this great conversation. And of course, what's your website there, Ori, again?
OriDagan.com.
You guys
ORIDAGAN.
are both lucky. You got your own .coms on your name, jordan-oconnor.com. So you can check that all out and, of course, get ready for
You can't
the...
do HughRiley.com?
Whatever. Okay. Anyways, so thanks, guys.
Thank you.
We'll get ready for the Jazz Fest. Go down to the 120 Diner. And on Wednesday nights for the thing, we're going to show up there and have some great food. Looking forward to the
play.
poutine and the performance.
Yes.
So thank you,
Poutine
guys.
and performance.
Pleasure. Thank you.
All right, that's it. At least for now. We're going to take a break. Come back with more right after this. Liquid Lunch, thatchannel.com.